Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I wanted to make this video to kind of talk about my journey till now and how I kind of got back in the saddle. So I know I posted a short and a couple videos on TikTok that briefly talk about what kind of got me back in the saddle. And if you haven't followed me on TikTok yet, my handle is at Niharka38239. Please go ahead and give me a follow. I'd love to kind of see you on other platforms too. It's the same thing with Instagram. But yeah, kind of getting to the point. I used to ride horses all throughout high school and parts of middle school. I was very blessed to go to boarding school, so I had access to the barn all the time. And I actually used to go twice a day. We used to have like morning sports hour and evening sports hour. And luckily or unfortunately, no one else really rode horses there. So it was basically just me and 6 horses. I think I can name all of them too. It was like Moonlight, Run Vijay, Starlight, Millie. Oh, I think I might be forgetting one or two, but that was my safe place, and for several reasons. Unfortunately, I didn't get along with a lot of people in school. I was often bullied, and I always have kind of been a person who kind of gravitates towards animals as I feel safe with them. They give me, I don't know, they give me support. They're my happy place. And that was my happy place in boarding school, and I used to spend hours and hours over there. In fact, there's a very cute picture of me when my dad actually came to visit me in boarding school, and I'm at the stables and all the horses kind of had their head out and they're neighing and they're kind of pawing, and it's one of my favorite memories. And if I get that picture, I'll try to add it to this video for sure. But yeah, high school ended. I came to the US. It was definitely a culture shock. It took me a while to kind of find my footing here. And again, I gravitated to animals. And I got my dog, Ori. And he's actually sitting right over there. And you'll probably see him throughout the videos eventually, if you haven't already. And he kind of was my rock. Undergrad was, again, lots of ups and downs. And unfortunately, I just never got back to riding at that point. I finished my master's, never got back to riding. I got married, and my husband was kind of my emotional support person. And he was the one who was like, hey, you always talk about horses and how much you love riding. What stopped you? And that was kind of all the push I needed. I still remember very clearly I had just come back from a pedicure, and something like came over me that day. I sat in the car and I called my husband and I said, you know what, I'm gonna call this barn, and they take adults for lessons because, again, mind you, lesson barns are closing, and very few of them, at least in this area, were taking adults as, adults on for lessons. And so I did. I called that barn, and I was very much anticipating going straight to voicemail and leaving a message and playing phone tag and all that stuff. But she picked up, my trainer picked up, and we booked a session, and I showed up, and I remember the first day I was terrified. This was one of the places I could not kind of like drag my husband to, of like, hey, look, I'm scared, can you come with me? And this was when I had to kind of be an adult. And I showed up, and I ended up going to her house rather than the barn, and it was all the feelings, like, am I doing the right thing? I had heard so many horror stories of how snobby some English barns can be and how mean some people in the equestrian world can be, and I was just not really, I was not looking for that. I wanted that peace again. I wanted that safety again of barn and horses. And I found it. I really did. I lucked out. My first session, there was another mom there who'd brought her 13-year-old for a lesson, and she was so kind and so sweet, and I was tacking up the horse, which I was surprised I remembered how to do, right? Because, I don't know, it just had been ages. And she was helping me out, and she was having a conversation, and she was really encouraging. And then furthermore, I had my lesson, and my trainer was incredibly supportive and encouraging. And it felt like home. I'd parked a little ways away. Like I said, I'd first gone to her house, and after the lesson, she even drove me in her car all the way to my car. And for some reason, that small gesture it felt like the world to me. It felt like I finally found my place, my people. And it still makes me a little emotional. I think I did tear up the first time, my first lesson. And I was kind of happy and grateful that I remembered as much as I did, because I was still posting correctly. I would mess up my diagonals occasionally, but in general, posting well. In general, keeping my hands together, keeping them low, all that stuff. And I was just so excited. And after that first lesson, I knew I was never stopping again. I don't know what life has for me in the future, but I know this is not going to be pausing, stopping, anything. I go regularly. I started off with once a week lessons, and now I've moved on to twice a week. The goal is eventually to get my own horse, and be able to go 4 to 5 times a week, if not more. And yeah, we're working slowly, and every lesson that I have, I just love going super early in the morning, spending my time kind of grooming them. And I know they get a little spicy in the morning too, but I don't know, it's just honestly, like, it's my happy place. It's my safe place, and I can't imagine how I stayed away for as long as I did. And the goal is to kind of continue, and every month I hope to kind of hop back on here and talk about what I'm working on, how it's making me feel, because I'm sure there will be pitfalls of, frustrations of not being able to get something right, including the canter. I'm still working on it. And kind of just move forward on that journey together and share that journey with you guys. So if you guys have ever had that, or if you guys ever took a break from horse riding, please let me know in the comments, and let me know how that felt for you and what kind of brought you back in the saddle. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. I would really, really, really appreciate that. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Bye.